Welcome back, everyone. This is our second installment for the beginner series. We're going to focus on watercolor, crayons, and oil pastels. So I have laid out here the 4 different types that we'll go over. And after we talk about them a little bit, we're going to go try it out on my test page, just like I did the acrylics in my first video series. If you're just catching this one, please check out Demystifying Acrylics for Beginners. This will be demystifying watercolor crayons for beginners. So first off, I have my cheapest set, I guess I should say, which is a Reeves brand. I got this for $14 Canadian at the art store. And I want to say this is 36 or 48 colors or something like that. It's quite a big set. When we go over them, they're more waxy than all the other watercolor crayons that I have. They serve a purpose. They are good for beginners. And they're cheap, so nothing beats that. The cameraman wants to get a close-up. I guess he likes the cheap kind. Anyways, on next we have the Staedtler brand. Staedtler watercolor crayons, again, a little bit more waxy. They are good. I use them, especially for adding last layers. This was the first set that I bought, so as you can see, they're well used and abused. Typical crayons, more waxy than the oil pastels or the neocolors we're going to talk about, but they're more pigmented than the Reeves brand that I just showed you. So also a good buy there. Then we go on to the portfolio. I showed you guys these in my last video. These come in 24 colors. You can buy them at Staples. They are very buttery. They're actually not crayons. They're water-soluble oil pastels, which are slightly different. So they are definitely more buttery and more soft. Very hard to write over, even with my trusty big ballpoint pen. So you just kind of have to be cognizant of that. But they are very fun for backgrounds. Very, very fun. I mean, the package shows all this other different stuff, but very fun for backgrounds. So we'll be working with those later as well, because I think that a lot of you guys already have them, or if not, have already run out and buy them. And last and not least, probably the best, is the Neocolor 2 water solubles. So I've seen a lot of videos and people talk about these, and I'm like, wow, they're expensive. This 30 set in Canada cost me $74, but I think that you can get them obviously cheaper in the US. At Blix, I had to laugh at Blix when I was there in Chicago for business. They had them in a glass case at the front of the store. So you can also buy these ones separately for like $2 or $3 a color. So I liked the case, so I had to buy the case. But I also have a couple of them separately. And this is one of those photo cases that I got from Michael's, but they are just perfect for storing these crayons because I don't have very many in there, but they store like this as well. So this case, whatever it is, $2, $1, whatever, so perfect for storing your watercolor crayons. So these have the most pigment out of all of them. They are buttery. They are just so awesome, so bright, so vivid. You'll see as we go along. So that's a different type of crayons. These are definitely an investment. They're definitely worth the money in the end. Try out some of the cheaper kinds first. See if you kind of like the techniques before you go and invest the big bucks on Neocolor 2s. You want to make sure that you get Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons, because the Neocolor 1s are not water-soluble. So just kind of be on a lookout for that when you buy it. So I have my oil pastels. I have each one of the crayons here, and we're going to do the same type of technique, going from most pigmented down on gesso versus non-gesso. Same type of little experiment we tried with the acrylics. So first I'm going to use the oil pastel, the portfolio series, because they're the ones that most of you guys bought already. So I am going to just color it over my stamped image as well as over here, because I'm going to show you 2 different techniques. Non-gessoed side, I'm going to show a little bit to you there. Then I'm going to go on to the Neocolors. These guys, these might be slightly different. So this is so buttery. Like, I can blend that with my finger. I can also blend these with my finger, the Neocolors. But so rich. Neocolors are so awesome, buttery, so worth it. Then we got the Staedtler brand. harder to color. As you can see, I have to press harder. They blend slightly, but obviously not as buttery as the top, and not as pigmented as the Neo colors, but still just as yummy. And non-gesso side over here. And last, got the Reeves brand. So you still get some good pigment out of these. That wasn't my intention. They still blend. They're just, you know, not going to be as pigmented as some of the other kinds. And there. So my little experiment here is going to show you what watercolor crayons look like with regular water, as well as, and yeah, my water here, I was prepping the pages with some gesso earlier. It's not quite clear, but I'm not going to worry about that. This is in my art journal, so I wet my brush. I'm not going to fully wet it. I'm just going to, I'm not going to dry it with my baby wipe here. I'm just going to wet it and then brush it off. And then I just realized I made a mistake. So these are the water soluble. Sorry guys, I'm going to have to quickly go and color my gesso side. I got a little too excited. These watercolor crayons, I love crayons. And then when I found that they have some that you can, see how this is more waxy? See how it's like a regular crayon and the little bits kind of go off and then you have to brush them off? But when I found out you could have water soluble ones, whoa, that was exciting to me. So I'm going to paint this one. So see how much pigment it is, and because we're going on gesso, it's moving over. There's so much pigment and so much goodness, you can't see that there was any type of stroke there before. And we're going to go on to the Staedtler. Staedtler takes a little bit more to blend it in. And then last but not least is the Reeves. And so the Reeves aren't as pigmented. You get more of a, in my opinion, a watercolor effect. More just of a wash. Then we'll go over to the non-gesso side. Same thing. I'm just dipping my brush in, you know, taking off a little bit of water. You can add more water or less water. So see how hard it is against the non-gesso side. Again, when you don't gesso your pages, it just sticks in. I wasn't supposed to do that. Okay, onto the Neo colors. Same thing. It's just going to. Those are the Staedtlers. Staedtler's a really good brand. I don't mind them. And then the bright of the. So you see how that kind of sinks in, and if you do it a little bit too much, obviously your paper's going to start. How do you print it? Pilling? Going to kind of ball up, so you don't want to do that. If you look back over here, you look at the Neo colors, it's still workable over here on it. You can spread this over and over again. So totally different between the gesso side and the non-gesso side. The non-gesso side's already dry. If you want a muted look, you can definitely go for that. But my second way we're going to work with the watercolor crayons is using a baby wipe. This is a regular baby wipe. This is a cheap one, brand name, not a brand name, just a store brand. And this is obviously in a small form, but I love to use baby wipes to blend my watercolor crayons. So you can just see here. This makes, I'm just going to switch it over. This makes a really fun background. If you're scared of a blank page, it's so great to get some watercolor crayons, slap them down there, blend with a baby wipe. You're just going to get a soft look, and you know, then you don't have to worry that white page is going to stare you in the face and you know, scare you. So blending on non-gesso is actually kind of fun. I actually do blending on non-gesso more often than not. Usually because I'm blending something, or I'm using my baby wipe on another project, and then I flip over a couple of pages in my book, right? Because there's still ink, or it's not ink, excuse me. There's still paint on my brush. I'm going to flip it over and see how you can transfer it onto the next page. I love that tip. And again, just build up a different layer. We're going to go on. This again is the Portfolio, is number 2. So that's more waxy. Or sorry, this is Neo Color 2s, and then Portfolios were the number 1. So just kind of different look, gesso, non-gesso. Very fun. Another cool way to use watercolor crayons is take a little brush, and I'll take my Neo Color 2s. And the pigment, how much pigment in here, this is when it matters, right? So I can just take my brush and, you know, use this as a palette. So then